What is the hierarchy of power theory? So there is no balance of power. Those who are considered the most powerful are on the top and the weakest at the bottom. This is known as the hierarchy of power theory. Okay, so this is the exact same opposite of balance of power. So here we have nations or countries who already know their place in this chart of power. Who Those who have the most power are on top of the chart, and those who have the least amount of power are at the bottom. And power is basically, military, populations, and things like that. Military forces, economic ties, economic growth, terroir, food, gold, silver. Okay, and the list goes on. Good political structure, law-abiding citizens. Mm, we'll say no uprising. All right, peaceful protesters. Not too much hostile internal affairs, right? So those are basically on top of the chart, right? Those on the bottom, of course, it's going to be those in suffering from a civil war, those who are in constant uprising against the government, corruption in political office, weak economy, unemployment rates very high, birth rates very high, death rates very high. So those are kind of considered the weakest, right? So now here it says this is known as the hierarchy of power, right? So a country is less, the weak countries are less likely to attack another country if they know their place in this hierarchy of power, right? So if you know that, United States of America has a whole bunch of weapons of mass destruction and their army is massive and big, there is a high probability of you not going into war with them, especially if you're amongst the bottom, okay? Uh, so that's basically what the hierarchy of power theory is. Now, we're gonna conclude this video up with a final, we'll say, thought. Um, Warfare here, hierarchy of power. How can this decrease the chances of warfare, and how can this increase the chances of warfare? So the way it decreases warfare is, of course, those at the lower end of the power chart are most likely not to attack. They'll stay neutral, passive, non-aggressive, right? But how does this hierarchy of power theory manipulate countries in engaging into warfare? Well, if these powerful countries know that they have the most power and they know that they can go in there and infiltrate and take over, they a very hostile, aggressive political leader will initiate warfare to these weaker countries, and that is how the hierarchy of power can encourage warfare.